So the last presentation of the day is design build options in the wastewater market. We have Liie from Jacob. She's an engineering manager and gets involved in several design build projects. And if she has any other information about herself, she's welcome to provide it. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about design build. My name is Liie. I work for Jacobs. I work in the O&M space of Jacobs. And we're seeing a lot more design build, progressive design build, CMAR. And today, I'll keep it very high level, just talking about the different alternatives and more like when would it make sense for a municipality to consider something other than design bid build. So let's get started. So there's a whole spectrum of collaborative delivery, design bid build that we're all familiar with, CMAR, which I believe we're seeing more, and then design build, both fixed fee and progressive, and then we get into the design build operate P3. Today we're going to stay on this left side of the screen and not really talk about DBO P3. Jacobs is all over all of these bullets. I will not be talking about Jacobs. I have some slides here that may reference Jacobs, but this is not about the work we do. It's about the delivery methods. Before we go back, I will go back this way. Like I said, super high level, but there are some educational resources out there if you're interested in learning more. Really good resources, the Water Collaborative Delivery Association. Most of that information there is just for free, like you don't have to sign up or anything. DBIA, you do have to pay a little bit of a fee to be the member of DBIA, but if you're really considering design build or collaborative delivery for your projects, I would recommend signing up. They'll give you like example contracts and RFP documents. So this map shows, so design build has been around for 30 plus years, and this map shows the projects that Jacobs has done for DB. Again, there's more of the projects, but if you see the dots, that's kind of where the projects have been happening. A lot in Florida, a lot in out west, and this next slide shows the green states, and again, Nebraska is now green as well. DB is allowed in the state legislation. It is growing higher. The delivery model is growing higher than the actual total infrastructure spending. So it is getting more popular. Like I said, it's allowed in most states, and yeah, we should talk about it. So let me see. So when an owner should consider collaborative delivery. So there's a few things, control and risk sharing. So how much, let's say compare project 1 to project 2, how much control about the details of the project, or how much risk is the owner interested in taking on. That might decide whether design bid build makes sense or design build makes sense. Also price. See, the price is, I have a slide on price, but typically low price versus best value, there is a decision to be made. Time, especially if we're talking about progressive design build, if a project needs to get done faster, progressive design build might make sense for project 2. And if there's more than one way to get a project done, let's say we try to do this very innovative drinking water plant that needs to meet all the regulations in the world, or we need to just lay some force mains. Like there's not a lot of innovation you can do with a force main, so you might not get the benefit of the design build on a project like that. So just main 4 categories to think about when you're thinking about how you're going to deliver a project. So these are some survey results from the industry. we asked the owners, I can't remember, I think DBIA did this. So they asked the owners main reasons why they would consider or have considered collaborative delivery. And the most popular answer was early cost certainty. So if you do a design bid build, you don't really know what the cost of the project is until you have bid it out, got a contractor, negotiated all the change orders, completed your commissioning, and then you know what your cost is. On a design build, you get or CMAR, you get that cost certainty a lot earlier. Also, a single point of contract and responsibility, especially for DB. The other thing that owners are seeing is quality contractors are not bidding hard bid jobs. So if you want a quality contractor, your only option might be CMAR or DB. Less change orders typically. Performance guarantee in terms of design build, and schedule management. Funny enough, the collaborative process was one of the least important for the owner, even though we think it's kind of important and fun. So yeah, consider collaboration, cost, schedule, performance, and specifically risk when you're deciding which delivery model makes sense. Okay. We all know design bid build is 2 procurements. You do your design procurement, finish your design, and then you go out to your construction procurement. The owner needs to manage 2 contracts. The owner carries all the design and performance risk, and the designer is selected by quals, sometimes for price, and the project is delivered on low bid at the time of bidding. Doesn't mean it's the lowest cost project overall. CMAR is similar, except you get your contractor on board earlier, but the owner still needs to manage 2 contracts, 2 procurements. Owner has all the design and performance risk for the project, and the designer is based on quals, and the CMAR will give you a negotiated guaranteed maximum price before they start construction. For progressive design build and design build fixed price, the owner will only have 1 procurement and 1 contract. The next slide will kind of show the differences between the 2. The design build firm has now the design risk and the performance risk. That's where the 1 procurement and the 1 contract, and understanding what risk is given up and what you get in return is very important. So again, there's resources out there to help you make sure your contract is good, or you can just hire an owner's agent to help you with that if that's your first time doing collaborative delivery. For progressive design build, the project is delivered in 2 phases. Start the design, and then every design phase will give you a price, and then ultimately the guaranteed maximum price at around 60–90%. And the fixed price, the procurement is a lot longer, because the fixed price design builder will give you a price before we even start construction. And all right, next thing is the graph around collaboration and risk. So a typical design bid build, the delivery team has very little risk. So that's why this is down here. There's some collaboration between the owner and the delivery team. And the collaboration slightly increases with the increased shift in risk to the delivery team as we go from design bid build to CMAR to progressive design build. Now when we get to fixed price, the collaboration drops. When you sign a contract with a fixed price design builder, they now own all the risk, so there's no need for collaboration in that sense. But like I said, the procurement period is a lot longer, so an owner will still have an opportunity to voice what they want to see in the final design. Yeah, this little graph to keep in mind. Okay, so this one is about schedule and cost. So now, I think the general narrative in the industry is that a progressive design build and a fixed price design build are shorter in duration than a design bid build in CMAR. And we think there's enough evidence to support that. But again, we haven't had two identical projects delivered in two different design or delivery methods. So if somebody says it's 100% true, I wouldn't believe that. But what we see here is the green bars are the owner's tasks. The blue bars are the designer or below design builder, and then the orange bars are the contractor. Again, when you get to design builder, there's no contractor. What really is the most important part of this graph is those red stars. That indicates the point where the price is contracted. And you see in the design bid build, you don't get the price of the construction until you sign a construction contract. And then, like I said before, it's never the final price. If you built anything, you know that there's change orders. With CMAR and progressive design build, the contractor or the design builder will give you a guaranteed maximum price. And because of the collaborative delivery, there's less change orders. And fixed price, you'll see the procurement of a DB firm is a lot longer, but once this is done, once the contract is signed, it's up to the design builder to hold that price. So that's what I wanted to say with this slide. Often, we get asked which delivery method is the least expensive. And again, no identical projects have ever been delivered, to my knowledge, in 2 different or 3, 4 different delivery methods. So I don't think it's fair to say that design bid build is always the cheapest or that the fixed price for progressive DB is always the most expensive. It's, again, like what is important to the owner and what are they willing to pay for. I would say if an owner decides to do a progressive design build and they have never done it before, then there's a cost for the owner's agent as well. That should be part of the overall project cost. But again, the design bid build, the costs are competitively bid. There is a low bid mentality that CMAR and progressive design build, there's more negotiation and more deciding of what is kind of worth paying for. Fixed price, we go back to the low bid mentality because the design builder has now committed to a cost, and all of the costs below that are competitively bid. And the low bid mentality can come back if the contract isn't tight enough. And yeah, it is a fundamental delivery shift in thinking about where the risk lies and how much control does the owner want around the final deliverable. And so if you just want something built that meets your specifications, and design build firm can take the design risk, the performance risk, the schedule risk, I mean, it might come at a cost, but that's kind of what you're paying for. Again, if there's any unforeseen conditions, then the owner would always have that risk. I was asked to talk about a few projects. So currently Jacobs has a project out in Westerly. It's a project that we operate, and we are in about 90% design with a progressive design build project that we will build and then continue to operate. That is an expansion of the secondary treatment, chemical addition, and the berm around the perimeter of the wastewater plant. It's, I think, 70 something million right now. So that's the local project in this region. I hear there's not a ton, but maybe you'll be inspired to learn more and consider that for some of your projects in the future. Some other examples, San Jose is a big client of ours. So the cogen project specifically was, had like very specific design and performance guarantees. And we've seen that like the early design build projects in this region had, or like further south in mid-Atlantic, had very like tight performance guarantees. So that's one way to make sure your design builder delivers a good project. Or at least you'll get paid for it if they don't. Spokane, Washington is a DBO. It was, again, another Jacobs project. It's a greenfield 8 MGD wastewater plant that ended up being a 20-year operations contract after that. There's some photos there. This one is a 24 MGD greenfield wastewater plant in Colorado and a 320 MGD drinking water plant in Houston, Texas. That one I think is still ongoing. This is our biggest project for sure. And then St. Paul, Minnesota is a rehab. Over 100 years old water plant that we rehabbed as a design build project. And this is all I had.
Very nice presentation.
Thank you.
A question I have is, in Jacob's experience, is it, in a design build where there's one entity and one contract, what position is Jacobs taken being at the, I'll call it the top of the pyramid, versus being number 2 in the pyramid, or being in a joint venture with the actual construction contractor? Or does it vary from project to project?
So in the water wastewater market, Jacobs is the design builder. So we're a design-led design builder. In other markets like transportation, we are often the designer for a general contractor that assumes the design builder role. But in water wastewater, we are always the prime. Okay, thank you so much.